So we do have Treasury Secretary Bissett, who states that individuals may receive $1,000 to $2,000 tax refunds in Q1 of 2026. Now, let me explain what this actually means. But first, I have to give you guys some context because I know that on the surface level, this sounds amazing. But once you guys find out exactly how we even got to this point where we can receive tax refunds of $1,000 to $2,000, all of this is going to make a lot of sense. There is this thing called the 2017 Trump tax cuts. And in 2017, the Trump administration passed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, where the goal was to lower taxes for individuals and families, to increase take-home pay, to stimulate spending and economic growth, to cut corporate taxes, to boost investments. It was seen as a very good thing at that time. And so yes, for most Americans, taxes went down after 2017. That is just the truth. However, those tax cuts were set to expire in 2025. And this is where things get a little complicated because for the corporate tax cuts, it stayed permanent, but for the individual tax cuts, it was temporary. And the individual cuts were set to expire at the end of 2025. And not because lawmakers wanted taxes to rise, but because it was the only way to pass the bill. So this is what created the future deadline. So what does the expiration mean for us? Two important things to know. It does not mean that taxes suddenly go up mid-year, nor does it mean that the government grabs more money immediately. It just means that if Congress does nothing, tax law automatically reverts to the older, higher rules. So when the tax cut does expire, we see tax brackets rise, standard deduction shrinks, credits get smaller. Most households will owe money as well. So knowing that right, let's talk about the payroll system because this is like the key mechanical insight that a lot of us have to understand. Let me put it like this. Payroll systems are not political. They don't guess. They don't assume when Congress will act. None of that. They're not legally required to base withholdings, but they are legally required to base withholdings on current law as written. That's very important. So think about it like this. The payroll is asking, based on the law, how much will this person owe for the whole year? And then it spreads that estimate evenly across paychecks. And so this payroll system started to prepare for the higher rates in 2025. They saw that the tax cuts by Trump was going to legally expire on December 31st, 2025. And higher tax rules were scheduled for January 1st, 2026. They saw this whole thing, which is the reason why the payroll system was like, okay, Congress has not yet extended anything. It is set to expire in December 31st of 2025. And by January 1st, 2026, taxes will increase. And so from the system's perspective, they said, okay, if taxes are going to be increasing starting on January 1st, 2026, they're like, okay, there was a real legal risk that people would owe more money later. They saw that, and that would cause chaos, stress, and a lot of non-payments to a lot of people, and it is just not going to be good for anybody. Payroll systems are designed to avoid all of that no matter what. So what they did was, okay, we're going to withhold slightly more during 2025. So by the time we get into 2026, because once again, the tax cut by Trump has not been renewed, but by 2026, we're not going to be demanding a lot because we're already going to get a lot through the year of 2025. We just need to ask for more. They need to ask for more because they want to avoid for people owing money later. So when there's a lot of uncertainty and they know that the tax cut is not going to be renewed, they just play it safe and they just say, we might as well just take the money from these people taxes now through the year of 2025 because we just don't want any headaches when taxes are due in 2026. This needs to be very clear for everybody. And I want you guys to know that yes, they have taken more money away from you through this whole year of 2025. They have. You have paid slightly more in taxes, more than you should have. Let me give you guys a simple dollar example to like really lock this in. Let's just say that you earn $100. With the tax cuts, you'll only pay $10. Without the tax cuts, you'll pay $12 because the payroll system was looking at you, the individual, that you're going to have to pay more in taxes in 2026. They're like, okay, hold up. We're not going to ask for $10 from his $100. We're going to ask for $12, not $10. We're going to ask him for $2 more than he should have through the year of 2025 because we need these extra $2 for the year of 2026 because we don't want to ask them for more money. That's just going to cause too much headaches, too much stress, and chaos for everybody. So they took those $2 away from you instead of taking $10 away from you. And those $2 was basically going to have you covered if the Trump tax cuts expire. If the tax cuts are extended, and we'll talk about that in just a few seconds, and the whole law is extended in general, then that means you have overpaid through the year of 2025 for the taxes, and you're going to be refunded in the year of 2026. So those $2 is not a gift. It is just a correction. $2 that you should have never released in the first place. So now let's introduce what happened back on July 2025 because Congress passed the One Big Beautiful Bill and it did three critical things. Point number one, it extended the 2017 tax cuts. I think that a lot of you guys know exactly where all of this is going to go now. Point number two, it added new deductions like tips, overtime for seniors, car loans, etc. And point number three, it made all changes changes retroactive to January 1st, 2025. Retroactive means that these rules that they have applied in the big beautiful bill was applied all year. They just have announced this whole thing and they passed this act very late in 2025. So we're going to go through 2026 knowing, going back to the original example, that we were only supposed to pay $10 and not $12. So yes, the government took more money away from you through the year of 2025, and that extra money that you have given will be refunded to you in 2026, and that is what made this announcement that we have talked about earlier. Treasury Secretary Besant says that every individual may receive $1,000 to $2,000 in tax refunds in the first quarter of 2026 is because this money that you're going to be given was originally supposed to be yours, but you have been asked to release more from your funds and through your checks throughout the whole year of 2025. These refunds are going to be bigger than usual because, like I've said, we have overpaid slightly for many months, and I believe, according to my sources, that the government have been able to have 100 to 150 billion nationally, which can roughly equate to giving every household on average of $1,000 to $2,000. It's not guaranteed. It could be a little less, it could be a little bit more, but all of this is just the math of correction. So now knowing this, right, knowing that this money was originally supposed to be yours, I want us to take the next step and really realize what we need to be doing here. This is not free money. This is the most important framing. This refund is not a bonus, is not a stimulus check, is not government generosity. It is your own money, but being returned late. You effectively had less cash flow all year. You gave the government an interest-free loan, and even though, yes, this refund might feel good on a mental level, it does not mean that you can just get this money and just spend anyways. No, this money was originally supposed to be yours and in your budget. Once again, it's very dangerous because a lump sum of money just going to you can feel like the greatest thing ever. You're going to want to spend your money on whatever, like, I don't know, a do-rag or 3 bottles of alcohol or something crazy like that. I would like to take a world-class financial approach on this whole thing because if you have it and I have it, let's have this conversation, right? Like, how do we use this money not just spend it on ridiculous things? I would for sure look at this and say, okay, this is not a refund. It's just delayed cash flow. It's not fun money. Let's try and see how we could eliminate high interest debt that you or me may have. If you have that, try and eliminate that with the refund. Maybe you can also build emergency reserves with this money. Maybe you can also invest it in a business that you wanted to start. You can do many things, but just do something that would financially stabilize you in the long term. But that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.